creatine is all in the news, and a couple things happened this week. Number one, we came out with a creatine product that is amazing, but also Dr. Mercola wrote a creatine article. So I was like, all the signs are pointing to creatine. So we're going to talk about creatine today, your cellular backup battery. Creatine, ATP, and everyday energy, how to recharge your highest energy organs without stimulants. Okay, so I don't know if you can relate to this, to having an energy crash. I have uh, had multiple close encounters with energy crashes, with brain fog, with stiffness after exercise for days sometimes. Uh, Mid-afternoon crashes, like no matter what I drink or what I eat, it's just not working. I even, okay, I was doing a glucose tolerance test. So I was on a 7 hour, it was a 7 hour, I think, or at least no, it was a 5 hour glucose tolerance test. And I started it, I think at 7:30 or 8 in the morning. And I was doing it in my clinic because I could get my blood drawn in between patients. And by 2:30, I actually fell asleep on a patient. So that was a mid-afternoon crash. I and I don't even remember which patient it was. I apologize to this day. But when I woke, it was just a little. But when I woke up, they were looking at me. I was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And I still took care of them. But I have experience with the mid-afternoon crash. So we want to look at what is the research showing us about creatine, not just for athletes, not just in the gym, right? And actually, I had a pastor that told me when I told him I was interested in nutrition and supplements, he was like, well, the people that know the most about supplements are bodybuilders. I was like, what? Or he didn't say bodybuilders, he said wrestlers and bodybuilders. And sure enough, they were doing everything they could to improve their performance. So I learned a lot from wrestlers and bodybuilders. So, but creatine, so this has been in their world for a long time, but creatine is not just for the gym. So a couple days ago, 16th, I think, Dr. Mercola published a study, published an article, and he summarized research on creatine, and he calls it the rapid. I mean, let me not skip over that word. The rapid energy backup system for your cells. Helps your muscles. We knew that, right? But it also helps your brain, it helps your heart, and it helps you absolutely regenerate energy during physical exertion, mental stress, illness, and aging. So here's the actual PDF of the article. And if you take a scan of that QR code, you can download the article, or yeah, the QR code takes you right to a PDF that you can download and you can read the whole article. It's a really good read. But as you can see, July 16th, it is fresh, hot off the presses. And so I want to talk about who needs this battery backup system. And the complete answer is every cell in your body. But we particularly want to focus on your highest energy organs, your brain, your heart, and your muscles. They burn through fuel fast. And when I say fast, uh, it's amazing how quickly your body uses up the ATP that it has. So, but high stress lives, high cognitive strain, women, of course, and men 40 plus, navigating metabolic shifts, muscle decline. Vegans and vegetarians have to pay particular attention to their protein, but that also means they have to pay particular attention to their creatine. Why is that? So what we're going to learn today, we're going to talk about not just creatine, but we're going to talk about ATP. So I'm taking it back to the basics, and you're going to be able to see molecularly. Don't hang up though. It's not going to be boring. Molecularly, how ATP and creatine interact. And so secret number 1 is ATP. Secret number 2 is creatine. Secret number 3 is how do we keep everything going? And then the bonus, we're going to talk about the nutritional foundations. Okay, secret number 1. Let's talk about ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Every second you're alive, your body spends massive amounts of ATP for energy, right? Your brain uses it, your heart uses every heartbeat, every thought, every muscle twitch. Oh, there it says every thought, step, and heartbeat is a purchase, and ATP is the source, and it's non-negotiable, right? And it is immediate. So let's look at the molecule itself. What does ATP mean? It means adenosine triphosphate. So there's adenine, ribose, that's the backbone of this ATP molecule. So you can see the adenine from adenine and the ose from ribose, which is a sugar. And then attached to that are 3 phosphates, which is why it's triphosphate. And the bonds that hold those 3 phosphates together are high energy bonds. So when one bond breaks, energy is released and the body uses that energy to function. And what is left is the adenosine diphosphate. So now there's only one phosphate bond that's available, so it's a lower energy state. All right, so you could think of ATP as a fully charged battery, and you can think of ADP as a battery that's in a lower energy state, but it can be, and this is the amazing thing of the body, it can be recharged. So when ATP loses one phosphate, so ATP loses one phosphate and becomes ADP, and that phosphate bond releases energy. But how does this recharge happen? That's what we're going to talk about. But okay, here's the main thing. I want you to understand this one word on this slide, which is massive. If you look down at the bottom, the big idea, ATP turnover is enormous. And what do I mean by that? Your body makes about 100 pounds, and their estimates between 75 and 150 kilograms, right? Your body makes its own weight every day into ATP. That is insane, right? But where does it go? You're using it up in energy. So it costs a lot of energy just to be alive. And what happens? You only have a couple of handfuls of ATP in your body at any particular time, 250 milligrams, so they say. But this process of this dispensing and then recharging of ATP molecules happens thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of times in 24 hours. So it's like a battery that's discharge, recharge, discharge, recharge, discharge, recharge. So your cells are constantly turning over and constantly um, in this energy cycle of discharging and recharging your ATP. So even though you only have a few ounces, like I said, 250 milligrams, um, that is about 8 ounces, I think. Yeah, about 8 ounces. You can check my math. Uh, in your whole body, but it is um, like I said, it goes through this cycle tens, I mean thousands of multiple thousands of times a day. And when you are in high stress situations, um, you're going through billions of molecules of ATP every second. So when I was talking about the word rapid recharge, that little handful of ATP that you have in your body will only, if you didn't have this recharge system, would only last you about 4 seconds. And then all systems would shut down. So this recharge is so important. So I don't even call it, yeah, Dr. Mercola calls it a battery back. I don't even call it a battery backup. It is, it is crucial. I mean, it is so integral and it's so crucial to this ATP energy cycle. Um, it's just amazing. Okay, I don't have a word for it, but it is amazing. So let's just take a look again. So so um, the creatine carries a phosphate, and that's called phosphocreatine. And that phosphate gets donated to the ADP, and then the ATP is now recharged, and it's ATP again. So the creatine that's stored in your muscle is phosphocreatine, and ATP is used for the energy. It makes ADP. The phosphocreatine donates the phosphate to ADP, which quickly rebuilds ATP, and that happens in milliseconds. So it's a charger, and ADP, creatine, think of creatine as the charger and ADP as a low battery. So creatine helps to recharge ADP with two phosphates back into ATP, which is three phosphates. So your cells keep producing energy fast. So this. We're back to the article now. All that was, I wanted to add some science, a little deeper science in, but the way Dr. Mercola calls it the emergency backup. Um, when ATP drains faster than your body replaces it, uh, fatigue is real, right? And creatine converts into phosphocreatine, and it steps in like a reserve fuel tank. The moment demand spikes, it instantly helps the ATP to recharge. So it operates entirely on cellular energy production, which means, every cell in your body needs energy. But like I said, some of these cells are more demanding of the energy supply. Some of these cells, your brain cells, your muscle cells, right, your major organs. And so creatine is a way of boosting the energy without stimulants like caffeine. And okay, I'm sorry, I duplicated this slide. So just as a reminder, phosphocreatine donates the phosphate to the drained ADP battery to make it ATP. And it does it in seconds. So it is a rapid battery system. So Number one, creatine is stored in the muscle as phosphocreatine. Number two, when ADP is used, it becomes ADP. I hope I said that right. When ATP is used, it becomes ADP. The phosphocreatine donates a phosphate to the ADP that rapidly regenerates ATP in milliseconds, and that gives you the power that you need for your energy, not just the short bursts of intense activity, not just in the gym, right? But for all of your cells that need energy, this is how they recharge. Okay, so what did we learn in the gym? Well, there have been some myths that people have experienced, or some symptoms that people have experienced. And so the research has gone back, or Dr. Mercola went back to the research and looked to see, okay, what's the newest research? So there was a myth that creatine causes kidney damage. And that is because, and you can see how the words are related, there's a word called creatinine. And when your creatinine is high, that can be an evidence of imbalance in your kidneys. And what they found out after decades of controlled data, so it was they were well-designed studies with controls versus the experimental people and animals, that high creatinine on a lab test is from the breakdown of the creatine that you're taking, not from kidney failure. Some people said, oh, it's an anabolic steroid. Actually, it has nothing to do with your hormones. Steroids manipulate your hormones. Creatine just recycles your cellular energy. It causes bloating. So what the research shows is that creatine drives intracellular hydration, meaning it pulls water inside the muscle cell to protect it, which supports the function, not fat or dangerous water retention. And hair loss. Many people have experienced hair loss that they associate with taking creatine. And we need more studies, actually, but based on an unreplicated rugby study, which means we definitely need more research, it showed temporary DHT shifts, which is affecting your hair metabolism, but no evidence links creatine directly to baldness. So that's something that needs to be researched more, but we're going to talk about something else later that may relate. Okay, secret number 3. So just over time and under different circumstances, your body can't keep pace with its own creatine production, which means you might be functioning on a half-charged backup generator. No, a half-charged backup generator, which means it can't fully recharge the battery. So the ATP that you should have, you might have more ADP than you should. And yes, there is another phosphate-phosphate bond there, but you don't want to use up all of your phosphate-phosphate bonds. You want to have that extra phosphate-phosphate bond that ATP has. So if your creatine production gets lower, then you're more susceptible to chronic stress, heavy workloads. you're more susceptible, you're more vulnerable when your nutrient intake is poor. When you are inactive and you're not stimulating your muscles to uh, ramp up the ATP cycle. And that's when your cells start to biologically age. So your cells have a numerical age, but they also have a biological age. So what we want to do is we want to have a fully charged battery, but we also want to have a fully charged backup generator. So the lights will stay on and your performance will be top notch. So one way we do this is with the 5 steps to nutritional completeness. Step 1, avoid the bad foods, and eat the good foods. So the highlight here is high quality protein, which is the original source of creatine, but also high quality creatine supplements, which really are in step 5, but since we're highlighting them today, I'm just mentioning them in step 1 because it is in protein. Step 2, 90 essential nutrients. So creatine does not act alone. You need all 90 essential nutrients for all of the mechanics to work. So we're just highlighting this one substance, this one micronutrient today, but you need all 90 essential nutrients every day. And some of you need every millisecond, right? Step 3, antioxidants, adaptogens. We want to protect the cells from oxidative stress because this is a high function, high turnover machine, and we don't want to have burnout. Step 4, we need to be able to absorb the creatine or any supplements or any nutrients that we take. So our gut lining has to be healthy. And step 5, wellness wonderland. That's where all of our targeted supports are: bone support, brain support, excuse me, red light therapy, Reiki, all of the healthy things that we do when we're on this journey to optimal health. But that step 5, which is the permanent place for creatine, is built on the foundation of the first 4 steps. And we just take a peek at the essential nutrients: 60 essential minerals, 16 essential vitamins, 12 essential amino acids, and 2 to 3 essential fatty acids. Now, creatine is not on the essential list because your body makes it, but it's definitely essential for every function in your body. So, what can we do? We can enhance our creatine by taking 3 to 5 grams, and that most of the research does a study in these within this range, 3 to 5 grams every single day, and the 5 grams is the saturation limit, which means your body has a strict storage limit. Going over 5 grams is not beneficial for your body. So once you're saturated, the excess, you just urinate it out. But what are you doing? You're really adding unnecessary stress to your kidneys by making them work harder to filter out the excess. And so creatine doesn't repair or replace the basics, it amplifies them. You cannot out-supplement a chronically unrested, sedentary body that's running on ultra-processed food. Your sleep quality is so important in recovery of your muscles, of your nervous system, of your brain. That's when your brain detoxes when you sleep. Having a whole food diet, you want to give your body the raw materials it needs, step one. And physical demand. So, one of the things about the body is it responds when you challenge it. So, and then when you don't challenge it, you know what they say, use it or lose it. So, your muscles need to be challenged and asked to function in order to maximize this energy cycle. So you want to be careful of your dietary intake. Ultra processed foods are a killer of your mitochondrial function, right? We want past grass fed, grass finished beef. We want, we had a whole webinar about this a little while ago about linoleic acid, where it's found in the diet and how we can avoid it. Also, so this, let me just reiterate this sentence: avoid conventionally raised chicken and pork, which is heavy in linoleic acid. And that linoleic acid is with you for years once it incorporates into your cells, into your cell wall. And then creatine works best when the muscles are actually using your energy. So sitting, being sedentary, that your body gets a signal, oh, you don't need so much energy. So it will ramp down the production of the energy cycle. So get moving. Your muscles are metabolic engines. So we want to pay attention to our input from high quality proteins in our diet, as well as high quality creatine supplementation. Our storage, well, our bodies store it as phosphocreatine. That's the, you could call it emergency fund. That's the charger. The output, this energy cycle where ATP is the energy currency of the cell. So where does your energy come from? From the food you eat, right? But if you're eating that protein, just eating the protein isn't enough. Your body has to break it down, break it down, break it down until in the Krebs cycle or in other metabolic cycles in your body, it actually becomes ATP. And your body can use ATP. Your body can't use steak, right? It's, no matter how small you chew it up, it has to go through the amazing metabolic changes that your body puts it through. And the results, your cells are going to be charged, energized, resilient, protected, and younger. So, by treating your energy system like a rechargeable battery rather than something you're draining and draining and draining, you'll be able to recover, you'll be able to have focus, and your physical resilience will improve over time. So ATP, what we've discovered, ATP is your immediate working cash. Every function requires it. Creatine acts as your battery charger once the ATP battery gets drained. And the science is clear. Many myths regarding your kidneys, steroids, and hair loss are not being replicated or not being shown in the research. Now, I have to wonder if some of the side effects that people have experienced in the past are from taking more than 5 grams of creatine daily. So what we want to do is consistently supplement with 3 to 5 grams a day, but we don't want to go over 5 grams. And that will help us to have a complete charging system for the ATP cycle. So what's one thing that you could try this week? Well, adding 3 grams, 3 to 5 grams. Our new supplement has 5 grams. Plus other cofactors. Taking a 10-minute brisk walk after the meal. We know that it helps your metabolism. Now we're getting an idea of why. When you're just sitting on that meal, you're not stimulating this ATP cycle and your energy is not flowing the way it should. And we want to be careful of what we're taking in as far as proteins. We want to make sure we're getting grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And we want to know, because you are not just what you eat. You are what you eats. So if your sources are not eating if your sources are eating LAs, you're going to get LAs. If your sources are eating grass, then you're going to get the benefits of the chlorophyll and all the great nutrients that are in the natural grass. So, what's one action you're going to try this week? So your next step, please scan the QR code and join the Elevate Your Health community. It is an amazing free community. It has resources, recipes, support, and it's just a great place to be. So scan the QR code as we are on this journey to optimal health and wellness together. And those of you who are here live, thank you so much. I saw some names coming in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And those of you here on the replay, I invite you to join us live and just scan that QR code and you can register to be with us on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Eastern. And those of you who are live, come on back at 9 p.m. Eastern to my YouTube channel and we're going to premiere this very recording. Now, I will be, for the first hour, for the first showing, I will be live in the comments. So if you have some questions, you dig that old creatine bottle out of your closet and you want to check the label or something, or, I'll be there live in the comments and you can talk straight to me. And that'll be at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we are shedding light on the secrets, and I just want to thank you all for being here live. I love you all. Mwah.